Good morning, everybody. Super happy. Oh, nice. Okay, so relevant people all here. Lovely. So, let's start with the following. Like, the majority of you here who have been using the Filecoin, like to access the Filecoin RPC, somehow you at least heard about the Glif Nodes that are operated by Protofire. And this is why I decided to remove all the parts of the slides where I'm like introducing ourselves and stuff, because it's like I'm doing that several times in a row. Like, okay, now the Glif Nodes API is pretty much bundled into a lot of dApps, into a lot of different analytics, statistics, dashboards that are collecting data. Like if you simply, this is not something that you have trust me on, you can go to the GitHub and basically input our URL to search for the GitHub, and you will see like a lot of entries of API of NodeGlyph.io, basically, right? But the inspiration for this very presentation was given me suddenly during the last week when I was on the Filecoin Hacker House, and one person from the Filecoin team said to me, okay, yeah, guys, you are definitely not in Fura, and well, I was not offended, because in the end of the day, it was a good comment about like that we are better in other things, like that we are very proactive in the community, that we are very helpful with the like ecosystem. We talk to users, we ensure that their usage is smooth and stuff. But at the very same time, I started to think like, are we really not that much of Infura? Like, are we that far from it? So I decided to combine a presentation to actually compare like whether we are not that much of Infura, and to see whether we could do sometimes even better than it. All good? All good. Good morning. So the dashboard of Infura looks that way, and I have very beautiful numbers here. So this is 1, this is 2. Yeah, this is basically the features that I wanted to explain. Like the Infura has the API keys, right? And over these API keys, that's basically my usage actually for ETH mainnet, I think. This basically the information about the request, the health of the request, whether it's successful or not, how much of their credits you're using, like how many API requests you're sending. It allows you to create more than one API key, but the funny thing here is that you actually can create more than one API key only on paid plans, and that's like, okay. You have some status, documentation, faucets, like a bit of other like additional tools that they're having. The 6 is they have an like Discord of their own, so you could talk to them, and they have an ability to configure the API keys. So if you're talking about the endpoints, basically, if you create an API key, you could also configure what networks you are able to you're able to connect with this API key, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And then the configuration of the API key looks that way. I was really like one day inspired by this, because it is very important. It is very, very important to be able to actually limit the usage of your API key, so you're ensured that even if it got leaked, you're not going to end up with having like either a huge bill, or you're having your being rate limited because you're like somebody started to just provide DDoS attack using a key. Yeah, you can share your keys, and this is also important for the people like Filecoin Station, because nowadays they use basically 2 keys, I guess, or 3 keys, something like that, that are bundled into the code, and that means that somebody could actually do the reverse engineering, and that's still kind of fine, because for now everything is like basically like free, and like, okay, you don't have the enough incentive to grab this key, to reverse engineer this key, because you can create your own key. That's pretty much it. But that's like Given the current usage of the station, like we were also talking to the guys, like that station is actually one of the major contributors to our usage. Like 20% of all the traffic we receive is actually station. So thank you, station. Like you show that we are valuable and stuff. But basically, it would make sense for us to make a deal with them, like to to make it more on a kind of like relevant business matter. But to do that, we actually need to provide them a possibility to share these keys with their users securely. And this is why I also got inspired by this kind of functionality and like, okay, can we bring this to Glif Nodes? And the answer is yes, we brought it to the Glif Nodes. And yeah, the most major part, the documentation. And this is one thing where I can say we definitely still have an opportunity to develop ourselves better, right? Because despite the fact we have a very nice UI, if I have a few seconds, I will show you, and the possibility to create keys and la la la. I had received so many requests in this last month, like, oh, how do I create key? How do I do that? I was like, it's fairly simple, but I agree. Frankly speaking, I agree. The UI is good, the UX is terrible. If you're like just a new user, come and you're like, keys? What do I need keys for? How do I access the nodes? Like, so the documentation is something that we need. And this is like one of our primary matters for the next month or so. We really want to develop a really nice documentation like Infura has. The health status, Glif Nodes pretty much has the same. They have some other features like faucet. We run these kind of things, for example, for IPC networks when we run the IPC networks. So kind of like, but somebody I think else is running the faucet for the calibration now. So I don't think we really need to step into this matter. Now we get to the comparison page. So what do we have, right? Do we have uptime? Yes, we do. We have the possibility to save your contact data so people can contact you. Yes, 5 minutes more, or yeah, okay, that's enough, trust me. You can generate and manage API keys. Yeah, and we don't limit the API keys, so you can create as many as you want. You can specify the networks for the API keys. You have full billing lifecycle manager, so if your DApp is not actually, like, just to be clear, the API, not Glif.io, is having 100 requests per minute totally free. So for the majority of the users, and I have statistic here, let me show you here. So don't look at that, look at that. So currently, you see this first yellow-green thingy. So it actually shows how many users we have authenticated, authorized, or not authorized. So nearly half of the users there is basically the people who never, ever even interacted with our UI. They're like, okay, we're happy with 100 requests per minute because they're native users who are using the MetaMask, and we have around 300,000 of different IPs connecting to us because they're like, okay, we basically, the real users, we just connect the network in the MetaMask and we use it, and we are happy with that. But if you have the real hard, like, usage, you will probably go and drop your API key, right? So, getting back to this wonderful presentation. Yes, what we implemented, what new features we implemented. Basically, now you have a possibility to analyze your request, to figure out like what you use, like what is your per method statistic. Now you can share your keys, as I was explaining, with other users. You can filter methods for the keys. You can configure API rate limits, soft API rate limit for you if you want like this key to be able to do that amount of queries per minute, per hour, per day, per something. You have a very fair billing, as I'm saying, like if you're real heavy usage, like we have now a very transparent and clear system, like how you can support your favorite RPC provider, you know. What we don't have, like we have only, like as I was explaining, the faucet stuff. We don't have the documentation, and yeah, basically few other filters that we plan to implement. But basically, I will still really want to ask the user first if they need that, because filter by API key, by IP address makes sense. But some of these, like by contract interaction, like smart contract, by user origin, I'm not quite sure that like this is the features that are needed right now. So if somebody needs that, just find me, tell me about that. I will try to prioritize this feature. So now this is how the API key creation looks like. This about soft rate limits, the name of the key, the allowed IP addresses, the sharing functionality here, these kind of things. Not gonna stop a lot on that. Now, for those of you who don't know yet, we added a feature and functionality to actually deploy the subgraphs, the graph subgraphs with us, and it's publicly available. Everybody who wants to use this, please come and use it, because right now we deployed only 8 subgraphs that are basically the popular subgraphs over the Filecoin. We just wanted to show that it's possible and it's working, and you can go and use them right now. You can query them right now. But you can deploy your own subgraphs too, also without even contacting us, fully automated. Roadmap for 2025, write better documentation, create feature request dashboard so users can request the features and not like we come up with the features. Add the crypto payments from basically the Filecoin tokens, because right now for payments you have to provide a credit card. Customize subgraph settings, so not everybody wants their subgraph to be public. Be totally fine with that, but just we don't have this feature yet. Other features, well, we want to provide a SLA for user, more guaranteed SLAs, with being able to make but that's a future topic. We want to migrate to bare metal servers and join the storage provider. Yeah. That's who did all these amazing things for you. Thank you for us. Thank you for listening. Subscribe to the Glif Nodes thing. Twitter, X, how you call that. And contact me if necessary. And I'm totally ready to answer any questions. I came fully prepared. I have this wonderful UI of ours. I can show you any feature that we have.
We don't have time for questions.
All the statistics. We don't have the time for questions. But if you have any questions, come to me and ask any questions directly. Thank you everyone for listening, and thank you for such a wonderful present. I appreciate it.